One of the first things that I did when I started making GameMaker videos, again, a number of years ago, was this little text renderer system named Scribble, made by one of my longtime friends, Juju Adams. And since those days, it has probably been one of the most requested video subjects for me to make more videos on and or like updated videos on. And the main reason I didn't do it is because Scribble exists in a bit of a quantum state, and that every time I look at it, it's completely different. But I think now it's finally reached a stable enough state that I can talk about it and not worry about anything I say being obsolete in 3 months' time. So welcome to Scribble. If you've ever wanted to do any fancy text effects, such as flashing colors or changing fonts midline, or changing colors midline, or any of a number of attention-grabby effects such as pulsing letters or anything like that, or inline sprites, Scribble has got you covered. So GameMaker's built-in draw text function kind of sucks. Some of you may be aware. It does exactly what it says on the tin and pretty much nothing else. And if you want to do anything like changing the color midline, then you're on your own. And that's where Scribble comes in. And there's no way I'm going to be able to cover everything in this system in one single video. It's probably going to be more like 4 or 5 single videos. So I'm going to start with the absolute basics and then work my way up from there. So firstly, where to find Scribble? You can go over to the old GitHub repository. I will have a link to this in the description of this video. And you can either clone the entire repository and you can play around with the test project that I had on the screen a minute ago, or you can just download the release. If you are someone who does not like video like documentation tutorials, you can go open up the documentation for Scribble itself. Juju and I believe several other people put a fair amount of work into writing a very comprehensive documentation for Scribble in the last year or so. And if you prefer something written, you can do pretty well for yourself with this written documentation. Otherwise, you can go to the releases tab over here, look for 8.01 beta 8 or whatever the current version is as of the current time and day of your watching this video, and download the YYMPS. Scribble is technically still in beta, but it seems to be in a pretty stable state, and I'm not expecting a lot of major things to change about it in the coming months. And as a bit of a fun, tangential, and 100% not very important aside, Scribble's version number is now approximately where GameMaker's version number was when I started using GameMaker way back in the day. So that's fun. Anyway, you can go and download the Scribble 8.01 beta 8b.yyMPS, or whatever it happens to be on the particular day of your watching this. You can go open up that file in Windows Explorer. You can drag it into the GameMaker IDE, or you can do it the classical way of going to Tools, Import Local Package. Either way works. And we're just going to import everything. So when I do this, that's hang on, that's not my test project. Where's my test project? This is my test project. When you do this, you will have a bunch of script files and shaders and whatnot imported into your GameMaker project. And it's gonna have to think about that for a minute, because this is a pretty decent number of game assets. Okay. And I'm going to go and create myself an object. I'm going to go and toss that object just into this room. And I'm going to go into the object's draw event, and I'm going to draw text in GameMaker the classical way. So draw text. This is going to take an X, Y, and a string. These are words. I guess if you're a traditionalist, you can do something with the quick brown fox. This is how you would draw text in GameMaker normally. This is just going to put text on the screen at position 3232. It's going to take a minute to run because GameMaker is going to try and crunch all of the assets that I just added into the shader binaries and whatnot. And this is just going to draw some text on the screen. So if you wanted to do something like changing the color of text midline or anything that I mentioned at the beginning of this video, you're a bit out of luck with draw text. You would have to do something like drawing every character or at least every word individually, and that's kind of a whole ordeal. I'm sure none of you actually want to do that, but to get started with Scribble, we can replace the draw text function with draw text Scribble. And this is going to take the exact same arguments. It is essentially a mirror of the built-in draw text function. And all other factors being equal, you could go through your entire project and replace every instance of draw text with draw text scribble, and your game should work exactly the same as it did before. So one thing that you do not have to do, and if you used Scribble in the past prior to version 8, you probably remember doing this, and you probably don't have great memories from doing it, is you do not have to manually add fonts to the system yourself. You do not have to mess with the font.yy files. You do not have to add fonts to the GameMaker included files. You do not have to register fonts in the game's create event or anything like that anymore. Some changes that have been made to GameMaker over the last year or so mean that Scribble can just read font glyph data from GameMaker directly, and it doesn't need to interpret the font files. And among other things, that means that most of the things that you had to do to configure Scribble in the earlier versions, you just don't have to do anymore. And you don't have to worry about font textures being regenerated. You don't have to worry about anything like that. We still have the quick brown fox jumping over the lazy dog. And this will draw text Scribble. It will allow you to use formatting tags in line, like in the middle of the string, but it will also take into account all the other GameMaker draw settings that you have. So if you do something like draw set color, yellow should show up against the black background, right? Draw text Scribble will take into account the yellow text blending color. If you were to do something like create a font, where's font? Let's call it font game, and let's make it something a little nicer than Arial. Arial is easily my least favorite font of all time. Do like me a good Calibri. Let's make this size 20 and like bold so it stands out a little better. If you were to draw set font font underscore game, then we can see that draw text Scribble is also going to take into account the font change, as stated. Alright, that's very nice. So this on its own isn't very interesting, but it does allow you to use the entire Library of Alexandria list of formatting tags that Scribble is probably most well known for. I'm going to go back to, I'm going to get rid of the yellow text, and I'm going to just have the text be drawn white for simplicity's sake. And if I were to change the color of certain words mid-line, we could do something like C underscore, let's say C underscore red. Actually, that would be a little hard on the eyes. Let's say C underscore green. The quick brown fox, and if you wanted to change the word brown to brown, you could say C underscore orange. There is no built-in C underscore brown, unfortunately, but orange is pretty close. And then maybe after that, we could change it to C underscore aqua as sort of a light blue, and we will see the color of the text changing mid-line like this, from white to green to brownish orange to blue. And by default, you can do this with any of the GameMaker color constants, anything that you see if you type C underscore. Any of the color constants over here, yellow, white, teal, silver, red, purple, and so on. You can also define your own colors. I'll get to that later. As for some of the other formatting commands, gonna get rid of all this. So some of the other fun ones that you can use, rainbow is a particular favorite of mine, and you can enable rainbow text by typing the word rainbow in square brackets, and if you want to cancel the rainbow text, you can say in square brackets /rainbow. If you've ever used a web forum from like the mid 2000s, the early 2010s, this probably is going to look a lot like BB code to you. And I can run the game now, and we are going to have the words quick and brown cycling through all the different colors of the rainbow, and let's see, another favorite of mine, which I actually like to combine with rainbow a lot of times because I think it's good for getting attention, is wave. And yeah, that is. And let's see, if I wanted to cancel that, I could type /wave. And this is going to, you can see that, and this is going to show you that text effects can stack. So you could have waving up and down text in combination with rainbow text, for example. I happen to like these two effects. I think they're, if you want to have something like an NPC trying to get the player's attention, this is a good way to do it, that kind of thing. Another popular one, I think, is shake. So you could have shaking text. So you could have each of the individual letters sort of vibrating around. It looks like this instead of having the letters waving up and down in a nice sine wave. So if you wanted to change the font mid-line, you can do that as well. So I'm going to create myself a second font. Let's call this one like font, I don't know, font Doge or something. And this can, of course, be where is Comic Sans? I cannot believe I am doing this. I cannot believe I am going this far for the joke. Let's make this size 20, same as the font default. And we can, when we try to put the word lazy dog on the screen, we could set the font to font underscore Doge, and we are going to see that the font is going to change midline over here. If you really wanted to get into like the 2014 spirit, 2015, whenever that meme was popular, you could also set that text to rainbow. You will notice that unlike some strict like web markup language systems, you do not need a closing tag for these. The different text formatting tags will just set the attributes of the text until either the end of the string or until they're told to change to something else.
Hey.
I feel like this meme is a lot funnier now that everyone's forgotten about it and moved on to other memes. Anyway, so you probably saw, there is an extended version of the draw text scribble function, and this is a mirror of the built-in GameMaker draw text extended function, and this function takes pretty much the same arguments. You would think I would remember what those arguments were, without having to look at the code help at the bottom there. Oh no, it doesn't. It doesn't take a text like a line height separation parameter. It just takes a width. If I wanted to have the text wrap at 500 pixels, I could tell draw text scribble extended to wrap at 500 pixels like this, and indeed it would. Like that. And so I was going to say that if you do draw text extended anywhere in your code, you could just straight up replace that with draw text scribble extended. The same as with the regular draw text function, except not quite, because you would have to remove the line separation parameter. Although I think it's pretty safe to say that most people just set that to -1 anyway, and it's not. It's pretty rare that anyone uses draw text extended with a specific line height. Anyway, the optional argument in the draw text scribble functions that I kind of have been ignoring so far, it is fairly, or at least it was fairly popular in GameMaker to do things like typewriter text by saying string copy, and you would use this to draw only part of the string, and you could say draw from index 1 in the string to index like 25 in the string, and this would draw the first 25 characters, and then from here it's an easy logical leap to have some sort of time parameter. So we could say t equals 0 in the create event, and in the draw event, like t++, and then you could draw exactly that number of characters in the string copy function. And this would give you typewriter text, as people like to call it. This would give you scrolling text like this. It does not work super well with Scribble, especially with formatting tags, for a number of reasons. One, it will count the formatting tags themselves as parts of the string that is being copied, and that is not ideal. And second, it's not really optimal due to the way that Scribble internally batches text and caches it to make it faster to draw. So instead, what you could do instead is, instead of doing the string copy ordeal, instead of doing the string copy strategy, you could simply have the time variable in the character count parameter. And that would create a much smoother and somewhat more efficient typewriter text effect, such as this. There are other fancier functions for using Scribble with typewriter settings, but I'm going to get to that later. I want to have this video focused on the basics. And just for fun, let's say if you hit the space bar, we can reset the typewriter. Alright, that's very smooth, and we can reset it whenever we want. Okay, fancy. So some other basic things you might want to do with Scribble, if you want to draw a sprite in line, I'm going to I'm just gonna take a coin sprite out of the Scribble demo project, and I'm going to call that sprite underscore coin, and let's come up with a new string to draw on the screen. I think that was the price of avocados last time I was at the grocery store. If you want to draw, for example, a little coin icon next to the dollar sign or something, you could say SPR underscore coin. So you just type the name of the sprite that you want to draw, and that would have that sprite being drawn in line with the text. And the sprite is drawn automatically by Scribble. You don't have to do anything yourself, like figuring out where spatially in the string the sprite would belong, or how much space needs to be made in the string for said sprite. It's just done automatically. I guess if you wanted to be like relevant to gamers, you could instead say something like, I don't know, graphics cards are $250 per pound or something like that, and that might be a little bit more relatable. I don't know if I'm the only one who pays attention to the price of avocados every time I go to buy food or whatever. Anyway, the sprite is still going to be drawn in line in front of the dollar sign like this. I guess if you're making an RPG, like, the currency symbol would stand on its own and you wouldn't need the dollar sign, huh? That's often how it's done in video games, right? I play video games, I swear. So those are probably some of the more common text formatting and other commands that you might want to use inside Scribble. If you want to see the entire library of Alexandria laundry list, you can go to the documentation, go to the text formatting section, and they're all going to be here. You can do a ton of things with sprites. You can do a ton of things with colors. You can align text to the top, bottom, or center, or left, right, middle, or other things. You can do some other effects in addition to wave and shake and rainbow. Wobble, pulse, wheel. Wheel is a sort of funny effect, but I have a feeling it would be really annoying if you actually saw it in a game. So use it wisely. A number of these text formatting tags have extra settings or extra functions that you can call on them, extra methods that you can call on them that will modify their behavior further. But this video is focused on the basics. I'm not going to get into those. And oh yes, if you actually want to draw a square bracket in your text, and if you want Scribble to not automatically interpret such a thing as a formatting tag, you can just double up. You can just double up on the square bracket like this. So now instead of actually drawing a coin in the middle of this text string, we are just going to be drawing SPR underscore coin surrounded by square brackets, and this is it is now literally inserted into the string, complete with the typewriter features. That is essentially Scribble's take on what you might see as an escape sequence. So if you want to draw one of these characters, just double up on it. Okay, so that's about all the basic stuff I want to cover in this video. If you want to see this in action and something resembling an actual game, if I go over to my demo project with the duck who walks around on the screen and talks to a bunch of lazy doggos, let's see. If I talk to you and if I hit the space bar, then we can talk to all these dogs, and they'll inform us about their dietary preferences. If I were to go and add Scribble to this project, let's see. Import asset package, yes please. We can add all resources, and we can say instead of in the draw GUI event where the text is drawn on the screen. No, that's draw sprite. Draw text. Okay, this is draw text color. There is not a Scribble equivalent to that, so I'm gonna have to set the color to black. If I were to replace draw text with draw text Scribble and get rid of the extra arguments on the end, let's make the font bigger. You'll notice the string copy is still in here, and this was my way of doing the text scrolling, the typewriter text, as it were. And I will replace that momentarily as soon as GameMaker runs and allows me to rock around. So we now have the text that is being displayed with Scribble, and it is scrolling appropriately. I can replace the string copy with talking underscore T. as the character count parameter. There is a rogue. No, stop. There is a rogue close parentheses in there somewhere, and this will accomplish the same thing, like this. All right, so that's pretty much it for the basics. With this one small change, you can now pretty much use any of the Scribble formatting tags inside your text in your game. Small word of warning: if you have your draw set color set to black, then blending your color with black is kind of like multiplying a number by 0. It's the 0 property of multiplication. Anything times 0 is 0. And the result of that will be that if you try to do a color formatting tag or anything like that in the middle of a line with your draw set color set to black, then it just won't change colors because of the aforementioned 0 property. The more advanced Scribble drawing functions, if you were to use the Scribble structs and methods and all that, do have ways to make that less of a problem. I will talk about that in the future, but in this video I just wanted to go over the absolute basics, so... Until then, I really hope that you enjoy using this. Scribble is probably one of the most useful things I have ever used with GameMaker, and I hope that the rest of you get some mileage out of it yourselves. So that's going to do it for me for today. I will not have a demo project in the video description other than the Scribble repository itself and the written documentation. I do have a Patreon, so if you want to contribute towards any of these videos being made, I will have links to that in all the usual places. You can see some fun things like your name in the credits at the end of each of these videos. About once a month I post a preview of my future plans, and if anyone wanted to pledge, I would definitely appreciate it. Otherwise, I try to post about 2 game dev videos a week. I'm probably going to be making more videos on Scribble soon, because this is really only the tip of the iceberg in terms of what we can do with such power. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed that, and I will see you all later. Special thanks to Zenjamin, Then Nothing Happened, Squarecrow, Sindra Larson, Posho, Gunnar Clovis, GameMaker, Emily Koyo, Edward Holt, DJ Gibbles, and Army Umbrester for supporting these videos. If you want to see your name in the credits or hear yourself shouted out at the end like this, head on over to the Patreon page down in the video description to join the fun.